I was chosen because supposedly I'm the rock. The rock sheds no tears, right? Well, maybe a few flowing today. I have a feeling that if my dad ever visualized me as a father speaking from a whole bunch of Catholic church, he probably was under different circumstances. I'm honored and grateful to stand here before you and God to eulogize a great man. I just left a legacy. When I asked others how they would characterize my father, he was described as determined, never complained about a situation, never spoke a bad word about anyone, dependable, Christ-centered, wry, and strong. For a man that started off his life without much of a fatherly example to draw from, he defied the odds. He educated himself. He made something from nothing. And he found a beautiful woman that understood and loved him unconditionally to create a legacy that will endure. I cannot hesitate to say that my father was a great man. You only have to look around this room to see his impact. It's all tears. I can't see it. It's a little blurry. I want to be clear what I have to say. He was an honest man. He possessed a strong faith cultivated over time. He was full of integrity and held a steadfast respect and adherence to the rules. You only had to go with us on a road trip when we were children, when my dad maintained a constant 55 miles per hour speed limit. Everybody passed us. Needless to say, they're not happy when cruise control was invented. Without knowing it, he taught me how to be present. He could sit for hours and just enjoy nature. He was a rock you could depend on. I'll never forget the day we were sitting outside on the porch and he was picking his fingernails. He threw one on the ground, and the ants were so fascinated with it. We must have spent an hour watching them figure out how to get this fingernail out of there. If you were lucky enough to spend a small amount of time visiting with him, you could feel his passion for life and enjoyment of the simple things. If you were unlucky enough to spend too much time with him, however, you got to learn over and over again how Spanish moss is actually an airplane. He could come off as gruff sometimes, often prefer to communicate through stories or acquired knowledge, and he had a wicked sense of humor. He loved all of his children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren, but above all, he loved our mother. In fact, do not hesitate to tell you just how much he loved our mother. And his 9 surviving children are a direct result of that love. His faith and unyielding trust in God sustained him. I, for one, am grateful for that faith. Not only for the example he set, but he made it clear at dinner one evening to the 40 of his kids present that we were not planned. And the purpose of marriage, he once told me, was to have children. He had what we categorize as a difficult childhood, and not much of an example for becoming the father he eventually became. My childhood was also difficult, sharing one bathroom with 6 sisters, for example. But I don't have an excuse for not eventually becoming a great father due to his example. What made my father great was his ability later in life to recognize areas where he may not have been the best, and he changed. He had a large, compassionate heart. He was truly a friendly man. He may not have always been there for every small moment, but he was always there when you needed him the most. If it wasn't for my dad, we never would have had purple noodles. Customized cargo vans with natural ventilation and sleeping accommodations for 3 to 4. Weekend meals as long as you showed up on time because you didn't run a restaurant. A 2-bedroom, 1-bath house that he turned into a 6-bedroom, 2-bath house. Numerous camping trips, whether you wanted to go or not. And a beloved dog, Shomer, that is certainly by his side. He used his God-given talents to the best of his ability. During the first few years of their marriage, my mom and dad managed to buy a house and car, raise 2 kids, and still save money on his $115 a week paycheck. He was proud of his work, and rightfully so. He rarely offered up advice, and if he did, it was generally in the nature that if he did something that hurts, don't do it. He preached actions speak louder than words, and his actions spoke volumes. He was a serious man. He was serious about how he did everything or he didn't do it. He lived his life with purpose. A purpose that he fulfilled in this life. Now he basks in the knowledge, joy, and peace of our Creator. I'm grateful for him igniting the spark in my life. That is my life. I vow to do for my children what he has done for us. Be an example of a living faith. Share the joy of experiencing life in the moment. And be open to change necessary to evolve and improve upon the past. If he could, I'm sure upon reflection of his life he might say, it was close enough for government work. I would say it was much better than that.
Of course, I just remember when we first got married, I wanted a big family. I wanted 12 kids. No, and we didn't even talk about it. I mean, that's...
We got married, son, with the idea of procreating and having children. That's what I think
you wanted a big family.
The thing that keeps us together as far as that closeness is the fact that we never frustrated our marital acts. It was always open to life. So, I mean that's a very strong meaning for me because I think that's where the endurance comes in as far as the warmth and love you have for your wife. You know, the fact that, you know, it's no small thing having, you know, birth of a child. Right. So
and
you remember those intimate moments, and I think that's the success of our marriage.
And there were no instruction manuals then. You just learned the hard way.
See what's happening today, all these professionals want to tell you what's good for you. You know, you have to think this way. You learn as you go along.